Hi, how's it going? This is Resident of Collinwood for YouTube, back with a Dark Shadows video for you guys and gals. To do a bit of a character retrospective in a sense, this is about Dr. Eric Lang from Dark Shadows. Now, Dr. Eric Lang was played by actor Addison Powell. You know, I've often talked here about Dark Shadows and their characters and how some of them had no build up prior to the character's actual appearance. And what I mean by that is no build up meaning the character had no mention, they weren't mentioned, they weren't referenced, they weren't talked about prior to them actually making a physical appearance. And that's what you have again here in episode 466. And I'll get into the writer of the episode too, because brilliant writer, brilliant writer. Dr. Eric Lang, before you meet him, Vicky and Barnabas are driving out of town. They're headed out of town. They're headed to London. Barnabas is trying to flee town with Vicky, who he bit. Actually, Barnabas did not bite Vicky a whole lot, but he bit her. And they end up in a car accident thanks to Jeff Clark waving on the side of the road like a jackass. Uh, well, well, they get in a car accident. So now, to be clear, you don't know which. Vicky thinks this is Peter Bradford. She's going to get proven right in the end, not in the end of this episode, not by the end of episode 466. That's going to take quite a while. But she is right, it is Peter Bradford, although he calls himself Jeff Clark. You're going to come to learn that Jeff Clark is working for our dear Dr. Eric Lang. And what is he doing? You might ask. I'll get into that. Now, if there's one writer you want to have to introduce a character who has had zero build-up prior to the episode they are literally about to debut on, and that's exactly what Dr. Eric Lang does. He debuts on this episode 466. Look no further than writer Sam Hall. And he is the writer of this episode, and thank fucking God he is, because he's the goddamn man. Is he the best writer in Dark Shadows history from a television sense? Abso-goddamn-lutely. I would put Sam Hall number one above all the other writers that wrote episodes for DS. Will I ever rank the writers? I don't know. One day, maybe. We'll see. But really, to do so would be unfair. But he is He is the number one writer in Dark Shadows history. Now that being said, he's the perfect person to write a character that has had no build-up. And enter Doctor as Victoria Winters and Barnabas lay in separate hospital rooms and hospital beds. Enter Dr. Eric Lang, who recognizes Jeff Clark. And you could tell he recognizes Mr. Clark. He says, "What are you doing here? What's your relation?" Well, she saw me on the side of the road. I saw the accident. This is literally in a bad way. He tells Jeff Clark, "Get out of here." He wants him to leave. He doesn't want him hanging around or to know what's going on. But you do know there's an association with the two characters right away. It's very well written by Sam. And again, like I said, he's the best Dark Shadows writer for these in the original series. He's the best Dark Shadows writer, and I say that very meaningful. So Dr. Eric Lang, when he talks to Barnabas, he opens the curtains, and Barnabas realizes, oh God, the sunlight's not destroying me. I'm cured. Dr. Eric Lang gives Barnabas a treatment, not just a blood transfusion, but another kind of treatment, and Barnabas seems to be cured of his vampire affliction. This isn't going to last, which leads me back to Jeff Clark. You see, what Dr. Eric Lang has secretly been doing He will, by the way, he does reveal this to Barnabas, who does reveal this to Dr. Julia Hoffman, because he insists on Julia's help, wisely. Dr. Eric Lang, Addison Powell's character, has been having Jeff Clark dig up bodies and and take bodies and put them together to form a man. If you can't tell where I'm going, this is the Frankenstein's monsters version of Dark Shadows, and rightfully so. And yes, they are literally going to get a monster of a man in one Robert Rodin. I'm gonna Robert Rodin was. Let's Google this. I forget how tall Robert was. I'm old, so we're gonna Google something here. How tall was Robert Rodin? It says here he was 6'4". He looks a lot taller than 6'4", but he's very tall. Can't be right. He looks so much taller. But he is a very tall man. His wingspan is amazing. Now, that being said, you have a very tall man laying on the table, who who's not who they're going to have to learn to talk. But before that decision gets made, there's another serious decision. You see, before they reveal before they reveal Adam's face, Barnabas is forced to make one of the most serious decisions as a character. Dr. Eric Lane says you can have any face. He says he wants the face of Jeff Clark. So Dr. Eric Lane, who drugs Jeff Clark, is going to cut off his face. And Barnabas says, "Stop, don't do this. I changed my mind. I don't want his face. Let him go." Dr. Eric Lane is going to pull a gun on Barnabas. What is Dr. Eric Lane? Is he just a regular doctor? No, he's a mad scientist. And to me, in my opinion, and I mean this, he's the greatest mad scientist in television history. I say that because Addison Powell literally had some of the most unpredictable reactions you could ever imagine as a character. And he pulls them off to such a degree you have no idea what this character is going to do next. The only thing you're really certain of is that he's going to bring this thing to life. Adam. Is he going to shoot Barnabas? I almost thought he was. Now, cooler heads prevail, but still, you have a situation where you really think Dr. Lane's not going to let this guy walk out alive, but obviously it happens. Like I said, cooler heads prevail. But with Lane, you got to understand, here's a guy who literally was so dedicated to bringing Adam to life. Now, does he live to see the character actually come to life? No, he doesn't, and I'll get into that here in a moment. You see, because while all this is going on, a certain young woman comes to town. Her name's Cassandra, and Cassandra is actually we're going to find out that Victoria Winters buys Angelique's portrait. She brings it back to Collingwood. Roger goes missing, and he gets married to this woman named Cassandra, who looks a lot like Angelique, just with dark hair. She's wearing a wig. Newsflash: the portrait possesses Cassandra, goes into Cassandra. That's Angelique. So now Cassandra is literally Angelique, and Angelique wants one thing: Barnabas. Guess what? Barnabas doesn't want her. She's going to have a dream curse that goes from one person to the next, that will ultimately go back to Barnabas, thus making him a vampire. Here's a woman who had no problem snapping her fingers, which is not literally, but summoning a bat come crashing through the window, and now she's going to make Barnabas go through this all again. Really, she just wants to make everybody else suffer, that Barnabas really cares about. Because think about it. What was Barnabas being a vampire all about? His own suffering, really, and making everybody scared of him. She wants everybody to face pure terror in Barnabas's return to becoming a vampire. It's not going to work. Yes, the dream curse goes all the way through because by the time it comes into effect, Adam is awake. Now, in the, before Adam does awake, Barnabas does try to warn Dr. Eric Lane and Dr. Julie Hoffman about witchcraft, that Angelique is a witch. And at first, they don't really believe in witchcraft. They do come around. But you got to understand one thing. Number one, both Dr. Hoffman and Dr. Lane are people of medicine. And Dr. Lane is also a man of science. So why should he believe in witches? Now you might say, well, would he believe in Barnabas is a vampire? Yes, but Barnabas was once a mortal man. He got, So there is that. Now, again, like I said, they come around. So what's Barnabas do? He asks Professor Stokes, well, I need to borrow your witch's medallion. And, Barnabas has had his way with many characters. Professor Stokes tells Barnabas, I'll show you the medallion when you show me the witch. And it's one of the best lines in Dark Shadows history. Because it's true. Here's a man in Professor Stokes who is so curious about the world around him and the potential of the world around him. He's literally probing, like, look, I just want a little bit of information. Not that he's going to get it. Before The Prisoner, Dark Shadows was a show about information first. Love The Prisoner. But he does want information. He's just not going to get it the way he thinks. Eventually he finds all this out, but not till after this. And he does give Barnabas the medallion. Before he does, though, he doesn't just hand it over. And I think that's the most important thing. Keep in mind, a lot of people gave in to Barnabas's whims and did his bidding. Stokes isn't necessarily doing his bidding. In fact, he does tell Barnabas, hey, I want this back when you're done. So he isn't just handing it to him with no regard. He is letting him know. And I applaud that. It's one of the best character traits I've seen in a character. Also, with Dr. Eric Lane, I love the dedication of the character. And I love the dedication Addison Powell puts in. I'm serious. Addison Powell was beautiful, did such a beautiful job portraying this character. And to think, his character is going to get killed off. He loses, the witch's medallion gets lost, obviously. And Julia, has been helping, and he records a message before Adam, they do end up bringing Adam alive, but before his character ever comes alive, before Adam comes alive, Dr. Eric Lane records a message for Julia. And he says, Julia, if Adam should live, Barnabas will be cured of his affliction, meaning his vampire affliction. But if Adam dies, Barnabas will become a vampire again, a member of the undead. He leaves it on a musical recording. You thank God for music, right? No, not so much. Not in this episode. I think I do agree with what my buddy Chris Fritz said. He said it's the best death on the show. He's probably right. It's a really good death. I would say to me the death that tops, in my opinion, where would I put this? I'd put this number 2, because to me the best death is the death of Judah Zachary. But Chris has a great point. This is a great character death. It's well acted by Addison Powell. He sells his ass off, and really, that's the appreciation most I want to put in with Addison here. Look, all the actresses and actors of DS sold their ass off, and Addison Powell was no exception. He really brought it. He brought this character life. I mean, look, Sam Hall wrote it. Sure, I would never take anything away from Sam Hall, but I gotta give a lot of credit to Addison Powell for the way he portrayed this character. He was so. I thought he was gonna plug Barnabas. I thought he was gonna shoot Barnabas. I mean, he had me convinced. So, what a character. What an amazing, amazing character. Shout out to Chris Fred. I think he's still on X at Fred Barnabas. Um, but you can also catch him on Facebook. Go hit him up. Good dude. But yeah, shout out to him. So, what a, with Addison's character, I do think it's the best mad scientist I've ever seen. His laboratory was real cool looking. I really love the set. That's one of the best set designs too. We had Eric Lane's house, but in the house we had the laboratory, and it was really cool to see. Of course, they had a bit of a laboratory in the old house. That was alright. That was cool. But this was a whole new set design, and when you watch it, it's a very cool start. Go watch episode 466, the start of slowly the what I call the Dr. Eric Lane / Adam arc / Dream Curse arc storyline. Go check those out. It starts at episode 466. Of the episode in question for this is written by Sam Hall, directed by John Sedgwick, and narrated by Sam's wife at the time, Grayson Hall. And yes, Grayson got Sam hired. Learn your facts, people. So, I hope you guys have a great night. God bless and take care.